Woo! Woo! Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. That was a little happy dance to kick off this video, and welcome everyone back and welcome myself back after such a long extended summer holiday break. I am back here in my house, of course, here with my most trusted partner, Brock, who has not left and has had a wonderful summer, and so have I. And I have decided to return and share some ideas, some thoughts, the reasons why I kind of took a little break. And yeah, let's get to it. First, I'm gonna try and keep these videos a little bit shorter than I did before, just so it's also less time consuming for me to watch it and edit it and look through it. I'm here with my very average looking coffee. It's day 9 of my self-isolation, and it's October, it's chilly. I've pulled out my sunny cushions, I have my yellow sunshine top on, and the weather is beautiful. It's sunny, yet it's cold. And I've realized thing number one, I'm not that scared of the cold, but I'm scared of the dark. And this could possibly be the longest, darkest winter of my really adolescence, because ever since I moved away from Latvia when I was 19, I have always found a little escapes and traveled whenever I possibly could. So that's the future, and it's really a lot of unknown. But before we talk about that, let me rewind back to June this summer. First, I had some incredible trips this year, and I just concluded my last holiday, which was 16 days in Greece, and it was really beautiful. And unfortunately, originally I was planning to go there with my mom, and then we had to cancel it twice, postpone it once, and then the second time we had to cancel because of the restrictions put on by our country. And basically all the flights were just canceled. There were no flights going anywhere, and then eventually they resumed the flights, and I decided I still want to go to Greece, and I went there by myself. Basically kind of did a trial, checking out the spots, because next year in May, hopefully me and my mom are going back, because we still have the tickets you know, that we're planning to go in May, but let's see. Before that, I also went this summer and I had an amazing trip on my birthday, which I kind of talked about a little bit on my very last video. And then after that, I went to Croatia, and honestly, I feel like it's the most underrated country in Europe summertime. It's getting busier, of course, with the time, but it's still relatively cheap, and the beaches are beautiful, and you can really find a lot of space to escape, and it's definitely much more budget friendly than for instance Greek islands. After that, I went to London. I actually had my longest time, almost a week in London, with my very dear friend Angela. Really enjoyed being in a city with it being so empty and quiet. Then in August, I went to Norway with my brother and dad, and we climbed the highest mountain in Norway, Northern Europe, Goldhoppingen. That's my washing machine. And sorry, I'm just playing with the ball with Brock. I know it might look a bit weird, and I'm just kind of like exercising. By the way, have been doing very good with home workouts, and I've discovered some pretty amazing ladies out there that really inspire me to get on the mat every day and do some Pilates and workouts. So if you want, I can share more of that. I basically haven't had, except for my birthday week, I haven't had a break from working out, which is really a good feeling. Anyway, so I suppose without getting into too much detail of how my holiday was, I wanted to share the reason why I felt quite discouraged. I've just felt honestly quite discouraged to share some of those things because there's a very different views on whether, you know, travel was necessary, and whether it's a smart thing to be doing, and whether we're being responsible or we're just being crazy. And I just felt like it's not celebrated anymore. It's not. I just had to put him in another room because he's gonna go mad with his ball and make a lot of noise. So yeah, so basically I find that travel was not celebrated. There was a lot of judgment in the air, and I've even felt uncomfortable sharing some of the things on Instagram and being overly excited about things, because basically it's almost like a punishable crime at this time. And of course now they say that Europe will be suffering, and Europe will be paying for having a much more relaxed summer, and everyone just kind of going out and traveling and partying. And so the second wave is upon us. But the reality is that we all have our priorities, and I really learned through this experience that travel is so important to me, and I know how I approach it. I also saw firsthand how careful everyone was, how respectful everyone was of each other's space. Every flight I took, none of them were full capacity, so there was plenty of space on airplanes, and also at the hotels we stayed at. It was all really, everyone was very respectful towards the situation, versus, when I'm here, I definitely get more crowded. When I go to market and buy my groceries, or in the shop, it gets more crowded than when I, for instance, when traveling. And there are people who would judge me for traveling. At the same time, they would go to a nightclub or a party and have loads of friends over. And so I'm not there to judge them, so I just don't want to be judged. At the same time, I understand that people would judge. In Greece, for instance, when the second wave really started showing back in August, they actually tested a lot of people at the airports on arrivals, but they found that 80 to 90% of the cases actually are local transmissions from the locals who are going out to big weddings, big parties. The same thing in Croatia. They said that the biggest number of cases actually are from the big weddings. They have weddings of 200, 300, 400 people, and they celebrate for a full, 2-3 days. And of course, there's a lot of kissing and dancing and drinking, and that's actually really what causes a lot of these cases. And even now in my country, where there's a huge explosion in cases, they actually see that whilst they do want to blame the travelers, they now see that most cases are from schools and from workspaces. So they encourage, the company owners to be very careful about the procedures, and people are much more relaxed. And also schools, of course, is a big place where kids get together, and of course the level of hygiene is not as high. So anyways, I don't want to get into too much detail about, my opinion on it. But I really loved what one of my favorite travel bloggers shared yesterday on her video. Her name is Eva. I'm gonna put her name in her YouTube channel down below. She's an incredible, adventurous traveler who shares the places that you're not going to really see on mass media that much, and really she goes beyond to explore the cultures and share her experience and her knowledge of the world that she sees. And she said that one of the things that she's noticed that has changed is that people are not as kind anymore, and actually people are looking at each other and seeing each other a lot more like potential threat. Because what if you're sick? You just traveled, you just did this, you just did that, what if you are gonna make me sick, or someone in my family is sick? And it really made me think, and I could really agree with that point, that there's much less of that celebration of each other and what they do, because there's the judgment, whether I'm me judging the person who goes to the bar, or whether the person who goes to the bar judging me for traveling. But there's less kindness around us, especially in this time when we need it more. Because what happens is that people are scared for their own life, and less so now than back in March or April, but they're kind of becoming even more individual and sort of having their own rules or their own ideas or the things that they believe in, and they kind of everything else that does not fit within that is excluded and not accepted. So I really can agree with what she said, and it's a sad reality, but it is the truth. So, and I promised at the beginning that I'm not going to get into too much of a long details, but the reason why I wanted to come back to this channel and share some of the things that are important to me, because I realized that truth is very important to me, and whether it's a truth that I find in my everyday readings or findings or sort of in things around me, or whether it's going to be the truth that I'm going to find when I resume traveling to normal or not normal, whatever way it's going to be. But it's important for me to share some of the things, and I do not want to stop sharing these messages. I actually recorded a video last weekend, this weekend, and I found that it was very grim and sort of like a bit depressive, me complaining about the weather. Okay, so I have a guy that's coming in to set up a mirror for me, so I have to kind of wrap it up here, and I'm excited to share a book that I was reading this weekend and some of the things that I found there in the next video, and how that sort of resonates with me and with my life. And I just wanted to say thank you so much. If you're watching, I hope I can provide some information that's useful for you, and I hope that you're staying positive and sort of dealing with this time in your own way. And I just want to remind you that it's not about what happens, but how we respond to things. And I hope that this year has really challenged you and made you stronger through these challenges, because one really incredible thought that I want to sort of leave with you at the end is that actually trees, they do not grow longer and taller because they have good conditions. What makes them grow longer and stronger and for so many years is because of all the conditions that actually constantly challenge them, which is the wind and the storms and the weather. So may you be as a tree, and may the conditions around you make you stronger. And with that, I'm gonna sign out, wishing you a happy week. Sunshine. If you can't find it in the sky, put it in your clothes or buy some cushions, bringing in some sunshine into your life. Sending you my love.